Morning, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch on Saturday, September 9, 2023 on our planet. Hope you're all swell. Let's have a little talk about earthquakes. Remember what I've been saying, especially my recent videos. We will be seeing a great increase in the frequency and magnitude of earthquakes globally. Such as we have in the past 24 hours, 48 hours. Let's go through just some of them. The deep earthquake Valley Sea. Deep earthquake off the coast of North Korea where we don't have deep earthquakes. Deep earthquakes in northern Russia where we don't have deep earthquakes. 6.5 off the coast of Chile. Earthquake swarm off the coast of Mexico up to 5.9. Other of a lesser magnitude but noteworthy, Campi Florida supervolcano, 3.8. Persian Gulf, 3.5. We don't have earthquakes there. We do now. Kermadec Trench north of New Zealand. A series of deep earthquakes up to 6.9. Several days ago, Morocco, not yesterday, on the Mediterranean side coast, 5.5. A precursor for yesterday's 7.0. Unfortunately, the death count is well over 1,000. These numbers will continue to be revised over the days and hours as they find more buried in the rubble. These are just some of the very, very few earthquakes in the past 48 hours. When you understand the concept or the idea of the outer core expansion equal pressure globally, mostly. Don't be so pinpoint focused to look at a singular event. Look at everything, everywhere. Where's that pressure going to go? Oh, well, mantle plumes. Remember, outer core expansion, where our mantle plumes are anchored to, where changes are taking place, hence the geomagnetic excursion, that rising pressure, heat, and magma to the underside of the lithosphere, in which we walk upon and our oceans are sitting upon. So let's talk about antipode earthquakes. This is a study done by the Oregon State University. They looked at 44 years worth of earthquakes, and they found that earthquakes of a magnitude 6.5 and larger result in an earthquake on the opposite side at its antipode of a 5-point and greater earthquakes. So the energy travels through the center of the earth and comes out at the other side within 30 degrees, losing a magnitude of between 1 and 1.5. Well, Brian, I don't understand. The antipode from the Morocco earthquake was the previous 6.9 earthquake, the Kermadec Islands. Yes, it was. However, Brian has a theory. Well, first, before I get into that, how do we know the deep earthquakes, plural, more than one, in the Kermadec Trench were 6.9 in that region? So you need to take in consideration the combined energy of deep earthquake events, combined all that energy traveling through the center of the earth and coming out on the other side. And who's to say that 6.9 in the Kermadec Trench just before the Morocco earthquake wasn't a larger earthquake. Who says? Now, people, please remember that standard earthquake forecasting methodology can no longer be applied. And some YouTubers are getting frustrated, or they refuse to understand. One particular guy in Missouri and his cat beats himself up because he'll do an earthquake forecast and it doesn't happen. He doesn't understand. Because he has an ego, or whatever. I'll give you an example. Deep earthquakes no longer result in larger, shallower earthquakes. Period. Doesn't happen anymore. This year alone, there have been a great many dozens, no exaggeration, probably over 100 deep earthquakes. Lots. Below Central America earlier this year, for example, in a 24 to 36 hour period, there were 12 or 13 deep earthquakes from Panama, Nicaragua, Honduras, Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico. Not one single deep or larger, shallower earthquake. But volcanoes. Boom, boom, boom. I challenge anybody to show me one single large earthquake which surfaced from a deep earthquake. The energy is going the other way, such as I have demonstrated on a great many occasions. You can't apply that anymore, and you should not forecast that anymore. This raises another question that people are asking me, well, why are they deleting earthquakes or downgrading? Because they don't want us to know there's a great increase in frequency and magnitude of seismic activity on our planet. This morning in my wife's part of the country, Sulawesi, Indonesia, 6.1 northwest corner. Shortly after that, closer to her home village, Palapo, 5.8. That 5.8 was deleted. We'll see. The fulcrum point, the point in between two earthquakes, is actually Palu, Indonesia, where they had the devastating earthquake and tsunami that killed at least 1,500 people in the city of Palu. There's so many dead bodies and so much destruction, they didn't bother to try and recover it. They just declared this city as a mass graveyard. I told you. If true, as is my belief and many others. And you know what? You want a reference? I'll give you a reference. Matthew 24. Luke 21. John spent a lot of time on the island of Patmos, writing the 66th book. It's all laid out. I told you. Expect a great increase in magnitude and frequency of earthquakes, volcanism, fires. I'm going to slip off topic for a minute. I told you, watch that Hurricane Lee. And shortly afterwards, it developed into a Category 5 before it's coming even close to landfall. Do not assume It will not hit the coast of Upper Miami and the Carolinas. Do not assume that. It's too far out for anybody to make that assumption. Prepare that it will, and hope that it doesn't, but prepare that it will. And there's another one further north and another one off the western seaboard, North America. Outer core expansion up through the mantle plumes, pressure, earthquakes, volcanoes, fires, heating the oceans, meeting colder air mass coming in. What do you think is going to be happening? Those winds on that hurricane are already 185 miles per hour, gusting to 200. We haven't even gotten into the shitstorm yet. And when a certain YouTuber, a high-profile YouTuber, tells you there is no Planet X, and when he tells you that the winds will not be above 200 miles an hour, there's two playlists you can follow. I like to stick to his. (1,166 pages). Anyway, folks, I gotta do a little bit of canning today. I'm quite sure I'm going to be back later.